Hey guys, how's it going? So before you watch this video, I'm just gonna apologise because I may have videoed everything in portrait rather than landscape, so it might look a bit dicky, but it's the same sort of principle. You'll still see everything. It'll just be a skinny screen rather than being able to watch it on like full TV, laptop, whatever it is. So yeah, sorry for that. Still learning, but yeah, bear with me. We'll get there. All right, enjoy the video, guys. Thanks. All right, guys, how's it going? So today, just doing a fuel filter change on the drive back from Queensland back up to Darwin. I've had a fuel filter light come on. I'll show you what it looks like. So if you can see that there, just next to the engine light, that one just means fuel filter. So I've looked it up in the owner's manual. If you don't know, that's pretty much you go to if you need shit for the dash. Pretty much fuel filter getting blocked up. Could be dirty batch of fuel, could just been over time. So mine's coming up to the service pretty much. It's just hit 90,000 Ks, so it's due for a service. So today, just to get me by, I'm just going to do the fuel filter. All right, we'll get into it. This area here is where your fuel filter is underneath. So we need to undo these three 5mm Allen key bolts just here. This is your primer for once you've done it. And then this here is my secondary fuel filter. So this hose here is what joins them together. So this sensor is what you'll need to reset after to change the light on the dash to get rid of it, to clear it. So I'll show you the little trick for that after. I've seen it before. I've had a mate tell me how to do it before as well, so it should be pretty easy. So we'll just get stuck into that now and I'll show you how it goes. Make sure you've got pretty much this, just 5mm Allen key and a cleanish rag, so when you pull the top off the filter you can pretty much just put a rag underneath it so it doesn't get any in it when you pull the filter out. Alright guys, so I've just gone with a kit from Burson's up here in Darwin. Do good deals and stuff, so they just run standard pretty much Ryco filter, same as like Repco, Super Cheap, all that kind of stuff. We'll just open the box up and I'll show you what it comes with. So it's your fuel filter. It's like a paper element filter, nothing too fancy about it. And then it comes with a big old juicy O-ring. So that's the O-ring there. Alright, we'll pull the top off this housing and we'll show you what the filter looks like. Just a nice easy clip there. So that's the 3 bolts out. Clip for the sensors undone, so we'll just lift that up. Grab our rag, and we'll just pretty much just wrap that so it doesn't get too much in it. Just let that sit there off to the side. So this is obviously your filter. So this is a genuine Toyota one. Looks pretty much the same as the Ryco ones. So it's just a paper filter. So all I do is I'll just grab a little flat blade just to pretty much get it in there, pop it up. It's just a little housing that holds it. So what I've done there is just lifted the housing up just to make it a bit easier, but you don't really need to do that. Yeah, so just looking in there, there's a fair in there, eh? Like, I'll just drop this out the road. So that's what the old filter looks like. And alright guys, so I've pretty much just lifted the housing up out of the other housing. So your filter just sits in there, your O-ring sits on this edge here and your filter sits inside. So if you can see in there, there's a fair bit of down the bottom there. It's pretty filthy. So all I'm going to do here is literally just empty the diesel out, give it a quick clean out. Alright guys, so I've just pretty much got an old Tupperware container I'm not going to use anymore. I've used it for fuel in the past, so I'm just going to, all I'm going to do is lift this housing up, drop the diesel into there, get all out of it, and pretty much have a better look to see what's actually getting into the fuel system. Yeah, so that's pretty filthy there. So if you can see that, I don't know if you can really see, but I've just emptied everything out of it. You still see there's a bit of shit in the bottom there, so I'll give that a clean out. with some fresh diesel. I've got some in the jury from the drive up, and then we'll have a bit of a look at this. So I don't know if you can see, but in there's some big black chunks and stuff. You can see it, there's heaps of floating, just pretty much just bits like grass and dirt and stuff like that. So it can be from when you fuel up, you bump your nozzle or something, just a bit of dirt off the edge of the fuel cap bumps in. Could also be just bad batch of fuel, you've picked up some stuff along the way. Sometimes dust seals on your fuel caps don't work properly. So I've had recently going full drive, and when you get a bit of a lean over, I've just had a bit of fuel drizzle out the side of it, just because it's obviously not an airtight seal and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll just give that that housing in the fuel system a clean, and throw the new filter in. We should be priming up, show you how to reset that light, and we should be good to go. So I've just disconnected the that little plug on the bottom there off the housing. So if you can see there's heaps of in there. So all I'm going to do is just new diesel out of a jerry. So I had that for the drive up in case I obviously ran out, because there's a few places that it's just super expensive, or just a really long distance between fuel stops. So I knew I wasn't going to, but I'd prefer to fill up a couple of jerrys earlier and then not have to worry about spending over $2 for like fuel price, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do, just give it a little bit of diesel in there, give it a bit of a wash out. I've already got a screwdriver in there to pick most of that hard calcified bit of sediment off the bottom, so a bit of diesel should wash it all out. So I'll get into that now, and then I'll show you when I put it back in. So I've just put a little bit of diesel in there, if you can see that. Yep, I've just used my screwdriver. I pretty much just flicked all the bottom in that little groove down there in the bottom. So I just run my screwdriver in there, pretty much just to get a little bit of that's just stuck, magnetized or whatever. So I don't know if you can see this, but on the tip of that screwdriver, that's just a bit of stuff magnetized to it. So it's just little like metal shavings and stuff. I'm not sure where it's from, but it's probably not a good thing. So it does look like the bottom of this housing's probably seen better days, but it's just to get us by. And then when I take it in to either get service or I do it myself, I'll have a deeper look into it, get most of the gunk out of this, switch it around to get all the stuff off. Probably do this a couple of times just to make sure I've got it all out, and then we'll reinstall it. Alright guys, so gave that all clean. It's all nice and clean now. I'm just going to connect this bottom plug back up before I install it. Obviously you don't want to forget that. So it's pretty much the same as the one on top, just clicks into place. You can see that, so nice and easy. Click that one into place, and then we'll just sit this down, throw the new filter and O-ring in. So obviously, if you didn't know this here is obviously like a drain plug as well. So if you don't want to have to pull it out, empty it, and you don't want to give it a clean because it's not too bad, then don't worry about it. You can just undo it from there. But for this sake, mine was pretty bad. So I'm just gonna put this back in now. Same orientation it was in, obviously. And then put the new filter and O-ring in. Alright guys, so a quick comparison. That's your new filter, straight out of the box. Rico. This is the old one, straight out of the filter. Pretty cooked, pretty dark. Old O-ring as well. So obviously when you do stuff like this, make sure you change your O-rings, because old O-rings perish and eventually won't seal properly, start to split, and you'll get leaks and air into your fuel system and stuff, and it'll start playing amok on you. So new filter going in. Just sit down nicely on that O-ring. So I don't know if you can see, but I like to, before I use O-rings, so depending on what I'm doing anything engine related, oil related, just lube it up with a bit of oil. In this case it's diesel, so I'll just put a bit of diesel in there, rub it around that O-ring, and then just sit it in place. So that's those three done. The filter's in, O-ring's in, lubed up, sits in there nicely. These three holes for the mounting, we'll just line them up with that housing. They're all fine, so we'll put that top back on it of the filter housing, and then do them up. So I know that some of you guys probably do stuff on your cars all the time, or work with mechanics or all that kind of stuff, hands-on kind of guys. So if you are wanting to get into this stuff and you don't really do this all the time, my best tip is to start all your bolts by threads. It's pretty basic for guys that have been on the tools for a while. They know that, like, starting bolts with your fingers, first couple of threads, just to make sure it doesn't cross thread or anything, because if you haven't used it for a while, or you don't know what you're doing really, and you go hammer and tong with a ratchet or a screwdriver or whatever, and you go too hard, you'll more than likely cross thread it, and you won't be able to feel it if you don't know what you're looking for. So if it binds up really hard at the start, when you're just doing it on by fingers, then you know it's not going on right. So these are pretty easy. Just clamp it down, make sure it's tight. All that housing on top does, where we've just tightened that up, it's just pressing down on that O-ring. So it'll literally just seal it, so no fuel will piss out the side, you won't get air in there. It's literally to make it seal so your fuel system works like it should. So another thing with changing your fuel filter is these secondary filters that I'm pointing to here. So this one here, the fuel water separator, like I've mentioned earlier, it's a good idea to change them as well, because most of the time these aren't actually they're not tracked, so they don't have sensors to go to the dash. It's only off your main one because it's aftermarket. So once your light comes up for the main fuel filter, it's a good idea to change your secondary one in case it's getting blocked as well, because it won't show up on your dash, so you won't get a warning about it. It'll just block and you'll pretty much wreck your engine. So yeah, we'll get into that as well. So the only reason I've undone those bolts and pulled this up is because I don't have access down here in the engine bay. So you can see that down there underneath, there's heaps of plugs and stuff. So it pretty much sits up against them. So I just can't access it to be able to undo this lock ring here. So this is the lock ring to pull this filter out, and then that bowl on the bottom gets disconnected when you get the new filter. And yeah, you just swap it over, make sure you got the seals and stuff. So yeah, I'll show you how it happens now. Since we've got the access now, it'll be easy to take out. All right, let's get into it. So that's it, guys, that's the top of it. That's what that goes to. There's your locking ring, and here's your filter. So it's clearly, you can tell it's seen better days. It's pretty rusted out at the top. It's got the water diesel separator in it. So this one here is the Fuel Manager 100 series, 31863, 30 micron. Pre-filter water separator. So all right, we'll change this out and then it'll be all sorted. I've got that same Tupperware container because I knew I'd need it again. So when this is installed, if you want to actually ever drain it and get the water out of here, it's literally just as simple as undoing this, and then it just drains out the bottom. So that's pretty much as easy as it gets when it's in there. Easy to access. The only thing is the other side, over this side, sitting on those plugs. That's why I couldn't physically get it out while I was in there. So, but that's how you drain it. So in this case, I don't really need to worry about that. So I'm just gonna tip it upside down, get all the out of it. So that's it. All I need to do now is separate the glass bowl from the actual filter, because these get reused on the next one. So you keep all this and it's literally just replace this part here, which is your filter. All right, we'll get into it. Alright guys, so as I was saying, O-rings, replace O-rings, so new ones, for this diesel, old diesel. Just, if you don't want to get your fingers dirty, wear gloves, dip the O-rings in, whatever, yeah, just make sure you lube them up. As I said, use whatever you're using, so glass bowl, we'll put this back in. So that's all good. So I've changed O-ring on the bowl. So this is the old one, pretty rusted. Fuel Manager 100 Series 31863. This is the new one. Exactly the same part number, same piece, literally just different color. So they come with this little blank on the bottom. That's what you drain your water from. So all I'm gonna do is I'll just take this off. Take that off. And then on the glass bowl, that's what it's got on the bottom. So I'm just changing it over because it's got a new seal in there. Probably can't see, but yeah, that's a new seal in there. So I'll just change them over just because it's the same thing, new seals and stuff. Doesn't take much, just same again, unscrew that. See that new one? It comes with that little gasket on the inside, but then you also, the seal kit, you get that O-ring as well as that other O-ring for the other side of the glass bowl. So they're the new ones that I'm changing. And then just screw it back on. Make sure it's done up reasonably tight, because that's where you obviously drain your water from, so you don't want it to just leak over time and accidentally leak diesel and stuff like that. So just, yep, do that up. And then all we do is where it's come off and where that's got the new O-ring there, where the blanks come off, just put them back together. You got the locking ring. Done. We'll install it now. So yeah, same thing again. New gasket lubed up already. Push it all the way back up to where it was originally. Probably can't see, but I'll show you after. So I don't know if you can see there, but on this side there is a slight tiny little lip on this side. The other side's flat and it's just a bit rounded. But yeah, it sits all the way up there against that top lip there. So alright, we've cleaned off down the bottom here, wiped it down with the rag, refresh diesel on it, install a new filter. It's just as easy as putting it on and just slides up. It's just like that. All we do now, locking ring, slide it up over. Alright guys, that's the filter installed. It's all down nice and snug. Make sure everything's done up tight. Both the bowl, the drain and the lock ring. We'll just whack these 2 bolts back in. Once you finish that, just make sure you like wipe all the area down around where all the fuel comes through. Just give that a wipe down, make sure it's nice and dry, so when you actually start it, you know if there's an actual leak or not. That's filter installed. Now all we gotta do is prime it up, and we'll sort that sensor out with the light on the dash, and then give it a start. It should be good to go. So this is your primer bulb here. So just pump that until it gets firm, so I can already feel it starting to get a bit firmer. So that's pretty firm there, guys. So what is priming it. So I'll show you what to do. This sensor, I'll just leave this sensor disconnected for now. So the plug is still undone on top of that housing. All we got to do, turn the car on, flicked it on, light's still there. So we'll go around the front, and we'll just unplug it back in. So all it is, leave it unplugged, turn your car off 5 seconds, plug it back in, you'll hear it click. That's done. We'll come back around here, dodge all the gardens, and bang, done. Light's gone. So we'll just give her a quick start up. Warmed up. And just like that, she's all good. Car's on, still running, 0 lights on. Alright guys, that brings us to the end. 2 fuel filters, main and secondary. Show you how to fix that light on the fuel filter, and I'll show you how to prime it and start it. Should be all good. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Let me know what you want to see, whether you want to see more mods, whether you want to see more maintenance stuff, trips, forward driving, camping, whether you want to see just day in the life, and I'll try and work that in, and I'll show you what I want to show you as well. So hope you enjoyed it, hope it helps. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. See you guys.